In this video, I will show you how to put together this folding greeting card holder from Simply Crafty SVGs. It can hold 10 or more A2 to A7 size cards and envelopes. So here are the pieces to this is an extra piece, I'll explain later, pieces to the folding greeting card holder. This is an older file that I designed in 2016. It's now in 2023 and finally making an assembly video and replacing the written instructions. So for those that may have purchased this before, you can just go on and log into your account and download the newest file because there have been changes to the file. Not a whole lot, but a couple additions. So some of the additions, I'll tell you what's in the file and I'll note what's different. So these are the panels that are included to go on the front and back on the sides. This, I didn't have this. This is a binding one on the edge on the back binding. It's a panel. So that's added. So you don't have to use all these, obviously. These are just things you can use. This is in the extra stuff folder. We have two of these for the inside panels. So when you open it in the inside, and you'll see this, there'll be one for this side and the other side. You can optionally place, but I'm not going to put it on. I'll note when it comes to that part. We have this cards. So I had created one for myself for this video, and I thought, oh, why not just put it into the file? So this will go on the front tag. So here are the tags. That's another change. So it's something you could put on your tag, or you can put your own sentiment, anything like that. So to explain that too, so this is new. Then these are 3 different sizes of frames or tags, whatever you want to call it, for the front. So originally it came with this big one, but when you put the wrap around it, it just kind of goes over it. So I have 2 smaller ones that you can put above or on the wrap, or below the wrap, depending on what you want to do. This is probably obviously the one I'm going to use. I already inked it and added a little embellishments to it. These are like similar to, they're like little gemstones. They don't make them anymore. They have glue on the back, so you just kind of heat them on. They do actually make them, but the company I bought them from, they don't make it anymore. But you could use little enamel dots or so many different little dot embellishments. So there's 3 of these. You only need to use 1 or however many you want to use, but you see they're the same shape, just big, medium, and small. Okay, so we're going to use this one, so I'll put those other 2 aside. And then we have all the pieces. So here's the binding. Let me just put it in order. These 2 are wraps. These 2 are the insides. And this is the front and back. Okay, so we'll get started by putting some of the panels on. So if you did want to use the only reason I didn't include them because it looks good without the panels on the inside, but if somebody wants to add some sort of panel on the inside, they could add, they could match it up with this one, or they could use a different one. So that you'd put that on before we assemble. So we're going to go ahead and put all the panels on before we assemble. It's easier to put them on flat. So what you'll notice on these is that I did a little inking on the edges. So I'll show you a little video of me inking this. So I also inked the edge of this. So I just found an ink that went with the color scheme well. And ironically, this is kind of a red. It's Festive Berries, but it comes out a little pinkish, so I kind of liked the change. So I inked them, and only that's just for effect. So when it comes on here, I'll show you that. When I put on there, there's different effects. I just like the effect of inking, and then we'll put this together. So let me go ahead and put that down. So I'll show you how I inked it. Actually, let's just show you now. So here's a little video explaining how I inked these, and I show you with one of these. So what I did is use the festive berries, and I inked around the edge, and I like to use a spare piece of paper, or scrap piece of paper, and just kind of ink it with this. They call these makeup brushes, but they're really ink brushes. I'll put a link in the description, but kind of dab a little bit on the spare little piece of paper. I just don't want to get it on my desk, and then I just blend in, out to in, until it's desired. So I just did that with all my panels. So I already put one down, so I just centered it. It is helpful if you fold these. So if you fold them, pre-fold them, it'll help you eyeball the center. So I'll do this other side here. And if you're wondering, I'm using Barely Art glue, and I do recommend a thicker cardstock for the holder so it's sturdy. So I'm using 80-pound textured American Craft cardstock. It's my preferred cardstock. So I'll go ahead and add this one. So this is the same as, so let's see, that would be kind of like I say front and back, but it's really right and left. So I'm just centering it. There's quite a bit of distance. I try not to change this file too much for a good reason, because it's been out for a while, so I wanted to make sure it wasn't vastly different than the very first one. So let's go ahead. This is the binding. So otherwise, I already spent, not that you need to know this, but from the first version, I already spent hours making changes, and sometimes I get carried away and I have to stop myself. So that's exactly what I did here. So there's really a wide offset around here. So when you center it, just know that. I probably would do it a little bit different today. And then these go right here. But it's okay. I mean, this is one of my early designs, and it was me at the time. Hard part, if you just like you craft everything, or even your job, whatever it is, as time goes on, you start to change how you put things together. So even the way this is put together is a little bit different than I would do today, but I'm still going to show you. I did make a little bit of enhancements to it, mostly tab enhancements, that kind of thing. Things that you probably wouldn't really notice too much. So I do like giving gifts of handmade cards, so this is a way to do it. So we have those together, and let's go ahead and put these together. So you could use, instead of using paper for the cards part, you could use vinyl. If that's your preference, it'll go on. If you're comfortable with vinyl, we're just going to center there. So we'll go ahead and just carefully add glue, and this is where the fine tip applicator kind of comes in handy. I'm going to clean it off with my damp paper towel here. Don't want to put too much because you just want it to be, make sure I don't get it on there. So if you do like projects like these or this project, always ask if you can give me a little like or thumbs up on the video, and or subscribe to our channel if you have not already done so. And if you hit that little bell to the right of subscribe, you'll be notified when we have new content. Or even like this, an old design with a new video. So I just put a little bit on the back here, make sure I got good coverage. Just going to center this. And I know if you're new to me, you probably are like, why do I have a towel that's wet? I always keep it just in case I have things I need to clean up, like little excess glue as I'm gluing it together. Then I'm going to place it on there. Maybe I'll pop it up. We'll wait for that for the last. So that'll go on when we put the wrap on. So let's bring these back. And we're going to glue these together. We'll just do one side at a time. So there are some, oops, I did the right, make sure you have the correct way. Oh, wow. So you don't want, if this side, you don't want to glue it to this little section. You want to glue it to the big section without a fold over here. Because this will fold in like that. I'm going to add glue to this. The tab's a little bit big. Deep. I just refilled this and just having a little trouble getting this thing out, the glue out. And I cleaned the tip just recently too, so that helps when you're having problems with glue. So we're just going to go ahead and line this up. So I'm lining this edge up with the tab fold here. So I'm just going right up to the fold. So on the inside, this is what it looks like. And so we'll do it on the other side too. So it might be easier if we did one side at a time. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're not going to put this. I got that wet for some reason. Okay, we're going to take, when you have this side, you want to take the side that this is in the middle here, goes towards the middle. So this smaller piece should be towards the middle. So this one won't work. This will be for the other side because this small piece right here has to be towards this middle binding. Okay? So we'll go ahead and the way to remember is this way. And this is when, before you assemble it, you could put another panel in. That's the extra panel that, like I said, is in the extra stuff folder. So we're only going to do this side to start with. They're the same process, but it's just two different sides. We're going to add glue to this. So if you're not going to, be careful with getting glue on this part because it's going to be visible on the inside. But if you think about it, if you put the panel on the inside, you can put additional information in there, personalize it, that kind of thing. So we're just lining it up just like we did the binding. Make sure it's good and secure here. So what's going to happen is we're going to glue this over here. And you can see, I'm going to just show you. As we line this up, we're going to line this little fold here. We're going to glue this, add glue to this tab. And we're going to align it up, right up to this binding. You want to get right to the left of it. You don't want to be, you want to make sure it can still fold. So I'll show you that. So we're going to add glue to this side here. So we're going to do this on the other side too. It's really not horribly difficult. So we want it to line it this edge down here. Okay, I didn't mean to do that. I can do it from this angle because it's just easier for me where I'm at. So you're just going right up to the tab fold. going to reach in, apply pressure, but I'm going to also make sure this folds up, because we need this to close. So get your hand in there and get some good pressure. And this is what happens when, by the way, right here, when you don't apply, you don't get it good and set before you move on. I just didn't get enough coverage of glue, so let me fix that. When you have these really super long tabs, that can sometimes happen. So after we get that glued, we're just going to go ahead, and you can see down here that we have these two. I'm just going to fold those over and glue that shut. So I know it's awkward because I'm trying to, I'll have to zoom out here. So let me add glue to these tabs, and then we'll move on to gluing this shut. So this is when it's going to come in handy to have something to reach in, whether it be something like a bone folder or my go-to wooden chopstick. So once we add glue to those, we're just going to carefully fold it over. We'll do it from this side here. I wanted to show you, but it's kind of awkward being on top of it. So I'm just getting some pressure on it so I can flip it on top here so I can get pressure on the inside. So I'm going to use the bone folder first. And you can see there's tabs inside. So just getting that pressure. Some of the ones you see out there have this little open area, so really this part doesn't really make that big of a difference. But if you don't get this lined up towards the edge here, at the bottom edge, when you get it on, then you may have a gap like that. So I'm just going to fix it. And then we'll move on to the other side. So now that we have this side, so we just want to be really careful. I got the rest of that put on. So I had a little bit off here, so we're just going to do it again on the right hand side so you can see how that's done. So let's go ahead and glue these two together first. So they're upside down. So this is going to glue on this edge. Put that right there for a minute. And you just want to get as close to the edge as possible again. This is where maybe a little bigger tip might come in handy. I could have brought another, having this thin tip out there. Make sure you pre-fold everything. Line it right up there. It's pretty big because we wanted it to be big enough to put larger cards in. I didn't want it to be just sized for A2. Probably should make a smaller one. I have different ideas now after I redid this one. Because I do like organization. I want to make sure it's good. The first time I did it, I folded it too quickly, and I think it kind of pulled away. So we don't want to do it we don't want to do that this time. So I'm just going to go ahead and fold these. Just getting ready. So now we're going to flip this over like that. We want to fold it to this. So I'm kind of putting it in the air because it's now got some depth to it, right? So let's go ahead and add glue to this tab. So you could put these two sides together separately, and I'll show you in a minute. But the difference is you'd see you wouldn't want to put the panels on first, the big panels. I'll show you after this. So I was trying to save some paper by doing it this way, not hiding tabs. So I'm just going to get it lined up first on the top and bottom, and then I'll flip it down here. Let me get this, get a little glue inside. So this is just slightly damp, so it's not going to, it looks wet right now, but it'll dry. So it's just we don't want to show those tabs, these tabs, on the outside. But you could put them on the outside if it's easier for you. Let me show you. So I did one of these. So you can do these separately like this. And you could put this on the back. So you could put it on the back like that. Hope that makes sense. But then you wouldn't want to put this panel on, then that panel can be put on. But you'll slightly see. I just didn't like, that's how I used to do it. I just didn't like being able to see the tabs and not using a whole piece of paper, two more big panels, because this is a pretty big box to use paper. Because this just takes a lot of cardstock if I did that. So that's why we did it that way. So back to this. So it's the same way the other side, but we're going to do this a little bit more. See if I can get an angle that's better for you to see. So what we want to do is when we have this fold should line up to this right here, right to the outside of it. And the reason we want that, because otherwise you'll have a gap, and also you need this edge right here to line up at the bottom. So otherwise you'll have a gap. So I hope that makes sense. And I can show you I have a teeny gap, just a teeny gap. It's not so bad, but like that, we're trying to avoid that gap. And that will be avoided if we line this edge up to there. So really you just want to get this corner right here in the corner right here, where that, right there. Oops. So I flipped it around here. We want to get this edge right here where it folds, right down in that corner. So this corner, when it folds over, will line up in this corner. So I'm trying to get some really good. So we're going to fold it under. I'm going to fold that up a little bit. That. See, making sure you can see it still. So I'm getting it lined up. Just kind of scooching it a little bit. This is why I like using wet glue. Making sure it still folds. Then I'm going to reach in, apply pressure to that tab. So, and it still folds, so we're good. We don't want this going over the inside fold of that binding. So now we just need to glue these bottom handles, this bottom piece on. So trying to just rearrange it for you for the camera. We're just going to add glue to these tabs again. And I'm getting closer to this one. You want to get the glue as close to possible to the fold without getting on the front. And if you need to, you can brush it on, or you could use your fingertip if you wanted to. Glue. People can have allergic reactions to glue, so be careful with that. So against the table, I'm just going to do it flat up. So I'm pushing those in a little bit. Then I'll apply pressure on the inside when we get them up. Just getting the glue off my fingertips. So I'm just getting it lined up first. And then we'll get some additional, so there it is lined up. I'm going to flip it over and apply pressure inside. So I'm trying to do it so you can see it on the camera, obviously, but I'm just applying pressure to those tabs inside. I'm at a strange angle, so you just want to make sure that's good and secure, because if you do put cards in there, you want everything to hold. And then it closes like that. So all we have to do is add the wrap. So you could do a lot of personalization. You see it doesn't glue on the inside like that, so it opens like that. You could do a lot of personalization on this if you wanted to. So when we talked about the different tabs, so originally the very first version of this had this on it. A little glue on the front here. So you could put that, but if you put the wrap, it kind of covers it. So you could partially cover it and put something up here, or depending on where you put the wrap. So that's the reason why I added some additional tags. So you could put one up here. You could still have the tag. I'm kind of showing you partial of it. And have something up here, or this bigger one that I'm going to put on. But I'm going to put this actually on the tag. Just attach it. So let's do that, and then we'll go ahead and slide it on when we have it ready. So now we have these two pieces, so you simply just want to add glue to one of these side tabs. Line up this edge to the fold. So we're just going to go ahead and fold this over to close up this wrap. So you could put a bunch of decorative. You could put flowers on the front. You could put just all the embellishments that are out there these days. You could really personalize this to the person that you're going to give it to. So I always think of, I like to give cards to those that I know like to give out cards, like my mother, my mother-in-law, and so those are the ones that usually got these. So we'll go ahead and place this on here. So I'm going to center it, so this will be the front. Yeah, maybe I'll make that the front. So I'm just going to go down the center here. So you don't even have to use these shapes. I just give them to you because they kind of go with the curves up here, at the top. Then let's go ahead and add this. So I'm thinking I want to pop this up. I'm not sure if I want to pop it up, but that would look good popped up. So we're going to do that. Let me get some foam tape on the back and we'll pop that up. So I had these little sticky thumb adhesive foam dots. I usually cut my own size, but had them in my stash. So I'm going to bring them out. It's nice when you have smaller ones so you don't have to cut them down. So I'll use a big one there. And I don't know if I can fit another big one there, but it looks like I may be able to just use 2 big ones. And see if that'll be enough. If I want to secure it a little bit more, let's go ahead and put a couple smaller ones in here. These are the same depth, so I think I'm just going to put those 3 on there. Let's go ahead and pop this on. Let's get one more over here. It's a little bit over by the sea is a little bit wonky. Sometimes these backings don't come off very well. A lot of times I just add my own, I just add a dot of glue on the back of them. Don't have nails, so it's hard for me to get these things off. Okay, we got that down. So now it's just about adding cards and closing it. So I'm not going to add anything to it right now. You just go ahead, it would be easier to go from the bottom. Just slide this on. And it should stay up. If for some reason this is not tight enough for you, just glue it a little closer, or you can make it maybe just a slightly smaller in your software. But it's right now using this cardstock, it holds. So it has different looks with different panels. Like I said, the original was underneath there like that. So you can see it was covering it. So it just depends on where you put this wrap. Or even if you don't even have to use the wrap, but it's good when you're giving it as a gift. But it'll close by itself. So let's go ahead and put a couple cards so you can see what it holds. And then that finishes this. So you can see I'm adding cards. So we'll just put it flat. So you can see I can put envelope. It fits. These are 5. This is a 5x7, so it'll fit one of those. Some of these cards you may recognize because they have a bunch of cards. So you can go ahead and you could put envelopes with them, fold them around. But anyways, this is a good gift idea to give somebody. Let's give them some handmade cards. Then you just go ahead and close it up. You can see from the top there, and then you can put it on from the top. It's just easier from the bottom. Just line it up, slide it on, and there you go. So I hope you enjoyed this project, and I thank you so much for watching.